All right, all right. Let's check and see if we're everywhere here, guys. My name is Dr. Malcolm D. Alexander. Some call me the Daddy CEO. Let me check and see if we're live where we're supposed to be. Because I tested it, but you know what? That doesn't always matter. Meaning you got it right. Okay, it looks like we are in place. Okay, okay. So let me share it with a few people, and we're gonna get this thing kicked off. Do me a favor, reach out there to especially fathers, uncles, grandfathers, fathers, but also mothers, because has to do with them as well, and we want to help them as well. Some of them, that is. So let's see here. Share this around a little bit. Guys, this is Dads Deserve Justice. You can go to dadsdeservejustice.org. Check out the site. Now, that's the basic site. We have a new one being created and all that other type of good stuff. With a lot more functions and stuff like that. But we're excited because Winners All Around has allowed this to come to fruition. And we'll be doing podcasts and streams and everything all around the world and connecting them to our different. We have it going actually on different platforms. That's why I'm checking right now because Winners All Around on YouTube is new, right? So somebody said to me, "Oh, I don't see a lot of streams." Well, we just launched it. We haven't even really launched it yet, right? This is sort of a pre-launch of a pre-launch, right? And so when you start, you got to build something. But we do have other platforms and other businesses and other things that's connected to. So that's why we're streaming on multiple different platforms at the moment. So that if you are on TikTok, if you're on Instagram, if you're on Facebook, whatever, you may see this thing pop up. And we're streaming live from the studio here at Winners All Around. And let's see here. Just make sure I've got this going out where it needs to go. And we're going to get this thing kicked off. So definitely appreciate you spreading the word, sharing and liking it if you're on social media. I'll try to keep up because I don't have all the comments things working quite right the way I wanted to, but I do want to just make sure we're streamed everywhere we need to stream. We're touching everybody we need to touch. And we have some dialogue and some information that we put out there to you guys when it comes to fathers. Now, a good friend of mine owns a company, Fathers Fighting for Fathers. Hopefully, we're going to have him on next week. As a matter of fact, let me put this up right here. Let me see. There. So there we are, guys. It is February 11th. It is a little after 5 o'clock, and we are live. Thanks to Winners All Around, ProMel, which is Team ProMel, which stands for Promoting Money, Entrepreneurship, and to Love Life. Let me make sure my other slide is up. Let me see if I can do 3 of them. There's 1. There's 2. Okay. Oh, I did that one. That's good. And I'm going to bring up the other slide. Okay. And here's the one, guys, for Valentine's Day, 6 p.m. on Valentine's Day, before you get ready to go out with your hubby. And hopefully it lasts forever, right? But if you have children and it doesn't, you got to be prepared, right? I thought mine was going to last forever. Well, it didn't. And I had children. They're my 3 children. I have children, 3 of them, Malcolm, Mason, and Miles. And so you want to be prepared. I'll tell you, in some instances, I was prepared, but I wasn't prepared for the system. I wasn't really prepared for the system. I was prepared for a lot of other things just in case, but for the system to be the way that it is, I wasn't prepared. Let's see. And I have to be careful with my words because if you go after judges and stuff like that, and you have people in the world who are spiteful and don't want what's right to happen, they can say things, they can do things, they can come after you. They can, I'm not Donald Trump, so I can't just do whatever I want to do. I don't even look like Donald Trump, if you sort of get my drift. So that'll be on Valentine's Day, but let's jump back to what it is today. This is where we are today. Let me just make sure we're everywhere we need to be, as I said, and we're going to have a chit chat, if that's okay with you guys. I want to make sure I'm here. Yep, it's there. Okay, good. And let me send it here because I want to make sure it's there. I think it's there, but you never know. And the system can get funky, right? Social media can get funky, y'all. Let's see. Oh, there are some of my peeps. They know exactly what I'm talking about. Absolutely. Oh, here we go. All right, all right, all right. Okay, that's off and running. Um, Let me see 1 second here. ABC, can we help you? Who's calling? Okay, great. Can I give you a call back at this number? I'm in the middle of a meeting right now. Okay, thank you. Bye bye. All right, guys, that was what I was hoping to get. It came in, but you know what? You guys are just as important, and my kids are more important at the moment. So, uh, that's helped me out with some accident and things I had. I'm still recovering from. So, got to take those calls when those doctors call you because the world is falling apart. And check out winnersallaround.com, guys, because we got a lot of different shows coming up, and we know that the world is falling apart in a lot of areas, and we're going to address a lot of different things. And so it won't be just dads deserve justice, as we have other co-hosts and other guests and other people. You guys know my partner; she's a international hip hop artist, international global streamer, and I'm excited. She's going to be dropping some nuggets and doing some big things as well. We have another one of partners. A celebrity, so you'll be surprised with that, and a lot of good stuff going there. We got some folks with top hit Billboard hits and things in the music entertainment industry because this all started off that way. Let me check one other thing, and I'm going to just stop rambling. And I'm actually going to do that one myself directly because I haven't got the TikTok stream key yet, which we do need. So let me make sure that we are on the YouTubes we're supposed to be on. Um, why is it doing that? Mm-mm-mm. Hmm. Okay, I'm sorry. I had an issue with Instagram over here. So let me see if I can fix that real quick. Why does things always happen when you don't need them to happen, right? You test everything, everything's wonderful. Next thing you know, you got an issue. I just went through this test an hour ago. Oh, it says live. I think we're live. Oh, we are live. Good stuff. Okay, so we're live on that one. That's good to know. Let's check the other one. That's where it really needs to be. Oh, my baby said we good on YouTube. Okay, excellent. All right, so check those. And that must be my phone that was tripping. Yeah, it looks like it's tripping. All right. Anyway, guys. Hey, again, sorry about that. You know what? We just want to make sure everything's going live the way it's supposed to go. We're excited because Winners All Around is now broadcasting on multiple different platforms. If you look up right there on your screen, and I think I went to Instagram and made sure. Interesting. Okay, I'm counting down on Instagram again. Um, okay, I got to make sure I'm here. Oh, yes. Okay. I forgot to click that button. Woo, so many things you got to remember. So, Instagram, you might not catch up with us for another couple seconds, but maybe you will. Got that screen up. Okay, let me share this, bring this up. I'm going to start off this way. We're going to do this right. Hold on 1 second. Let's see. Share the screen. Share the screen. There it is. And boom. Okay. Here we go. I believe I got it, guys. So let me do the proper introduction. Here we go. Hello. My name is Malcolm D. Alexander, and some call me Doc because I'm a doctor. Some call me Chaplain. But my greatest accomplishment is being the daddy CEO. Now, what is that? Well, I'm a proud father of three young men, three boys. And I've coached and mentored hundreds of thousands, and millions of people around the world. So some of them look at me as a father figure, an uncle, big brother. In some capacities, a dad. So as I said, my greatest accomplishment is being a dad of my three boys, and it sort of expands to the world. And the reason I'm coming to you today is because I've launched the concept, the company, the entity, Dads Deserve Justice. Because I was married for 11 years, and I recently went through, as I say, a contentious divorce. And then the pandemic hit, and that made it even worse. And it was 3 years of a nightmare. It still continues. They say that as long as the kids are young until they turn 18, you have to work together. You'll be connected at the hip. And I believe that. But what I didn't believe was the system was so biased that women would be able to manipulate and use it so well. I had some powers of being in the system look down on me because I was a doctor, because I was well traveled, because I had had some success, because I helped people look for and achieve hope and opportunity. They made it out to be a bad thing. Had other powers in the system say, well, I don't want to offend anybody, so I won't do the right thing, at least not at this moment. And that made things worse. I watched as I've gone through programs and I've studied and I've talked to people, how a lot of times dads, they get a bad deal. Now, this isn't to say that women don't get a bad deal, and this isn't to say there are not issues out there that affect women. They affect everybody. But I am a dad. And I had an attorney who went to Congress and spoke and wanted to make sure that they put laws in place to make sure that there were equal rights starting off for dads. I'm not a leisure dad. I picked my kids up from school every day. I took them to school every day. I didn't miss field trips. I didn't miss times to volunteer. I won Volunteer of the Year every single year in their schools. But the system wants you to be a leisure dad. The system expects that men aren't going to step up. They expect that children should be with the mother, or that the mother should call the shots. Well, I don't believe that. I believe it should be fair. I believe it should be right. And this program, this company, this entity, Dads Deserve Justice, will fight to make sure that one day that becomes reality. God bless. I hope you're not offended by my message. I hope you will support us, as we are not against anybody, but we are for a certain group of people who are oppressed. God bless. All right, all right. Make sure that thing don't keep on playing. All right. Thank you for that.
Check this out. I'm going to show you how I afforded this car.
I was going to do that. So,
okay, you ready? All right.
Boom. Stop. All right. So we are back over here. And guys, you can check that out. That comes from the, let me bring this back up on here. That comes from the website, dadsdeservejustice.org. You look on the flyer you see right there on the right, dadsdeservejustice.org. You can take a look at that again. You can find it also on YouTube. I believe it's under Promel Wealth, which is promoting money, entrepreneurship, and to love life. PROMELL Wealth. That's actually the handle also on Instagram, Facebook, things of that nature. So you can go out there. That's thank them as our sponsor for today's show as we kick this thing off. And thanks to Winners All Around for putting this thing together and bringing it to the world. Not only this show, but lots of different shows, guys. We have Freestyle Fridays, Soul Food Sundays, all types of different stuff for those in the music industry. So you can join us on Thursdays, and we want to listen to you sing, listen to you rap, watch you dance, let you do a monologue, do poetry, all types of different things. And so I'm excited, guys, because, if you notice that video, I did that video, I don't know, it must have been about 3 years ago. And that was 3 years after I had gone through a divorce. And here we are 6 years after I've gone through a divorce. And not much has changed. And I want to tell you a little bit about my story. I have to be careful, as I said before, how I say it, because they're watching. They're watching and hoping they can use things against people out here, people that are doing right, people that are doing good. There's always somebody to watch you. Some people call them haters. People call them all types of different things. But guys, the interesting thing was that my story was interesting because I was adopted at 11 months old. As you can see, I'm an African-American man. My parents were Caucasian. And so this was back in the 60s. I actually got a chance. Now, I don't remember it to march with Martin Luther King, but I was an infant, a baby, less than a year. But I was there. And my parents did. They were that hippie type, or they smoked, back then, I guess it was called marijuana pot. Right now it's weed, right? Cannabis, right? We've come a long way in that. But they did that, and they were in the Peace Corps, and they adopted a Black child. And so I grew up with two different worlds. I had a African-American family, I had a Caucasian family, and I didn't just study it in a textbook. I didn't show up somewhere. No, I lived in both worlds. And, even when my father passed, he said maybe he apologized for adopting me. And we had a talk, and it wasn't a bad thing. We had a pretty good relationship, father and son. We had issues like anybody else. But what he was saying was he never expected and never thought about the problems I would go through being African-American in a white world. He never thought, and he couldn't imagine the things I had to deal with, knowing what I was missing, knowing how people were treating me, and knowing what it was to be treated if I looked like him, and how hard that must have been. And he never considered that when he adopted me. But I said, don't worry, I appreciate you adopting me. It made me who I am today. It allowed me to see things a little bit differently. It allowed me to fight hard for my people when a lot of times we just want to give up. It's too difficult. It's too financially difficult. It's too emotionally, too spiritually. It's just too much. And that's the same thing when it comes to fathers fighting for their kids. I saw a post years ago, and it said, they're not deadbeat dads, they're dead broke. And I never forgot that, y'all. I never forgot it, because the bottom line was, a lot of times it's not worth it to them. They'll almost kill themselves. And some people do kill themselves, and some people lose their minds because they're only fighting for what's right. They're only fighting for what they were told, they believed would be the case. And it's not the case in our system. And the judges are against it. They're biased. The different centers. I just had a situation sort of spearheaded me today. I got a very biased letter from a center, very biased. And I had some people who are psychologists, and people look at it and they're like, "Ooh, this is terrible." But that's the system. You have judges. I had a judge who stated something one time, and I looked into what it cost, and I tried to go down that road. $300,000 to go after a judge for doing the wrong thing, right? These are things I experienced and saw in our unjust system. And then you have lawyers who are like, well, I remember a lawyer saying, well, don't go for full custody because the system will never allow it unless the mother was dead, on drugs, or in jail. Try to get it later if you can get joint first, which the blessing was I was able to get. But that's another story to share at a different time. Because there's too many people out there that have problems. There's too many people who don't have the resources, the financial resources, the wherewithal, the mental capacity, the drive to go after it. And so they end up appearing to the world as a deadbeat father. They end up appearing to the world. I watched something the other day that said something about, you're paying child support. If you give something extra, I remember the judge saying, man, you were great to your stepson. I mean, you raised him from 6 to 19 years old. You were fantastic. You're to be applauded. But he's not your son. He's not your son, right? And so even though I was paying for college, he's not yours, right? And That was hard to accept because I was adopted. Remember, I was adopted, and my parents, I was theirs 100%. And they were my parents 100%. I found my biological mother in the middle of COVID, and she's my biological mother 100%. God put her in my life at the right time, and I am excited and glad that I found her. My kids got a new grandmother and grandfather, and new family and stuff like that. And I'm trying to get them to go out and see them more and stuff like that. But because of the situations in the world, sometimes that becomes difficult, and it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. The system say courts should not. It's been the best interest of the children. And if you've ever been through that, you know that it's not. And the reason I brought up my father is because my father went through a contentious divorce about 40 plus years ago. And I was involved because I was the child. And it reminded me, because I was about the same age as my kids, my oldest, when I went through it. And I realized the system hasn't changed. And the thing about it was, me being a traditional business owner and being in the world of business and being blessed to be able to build $1 million companies in business, being blessed to be able to do it in that home-based and network marketing thing in business, being in the arts. We're going to Duke Ellington School of Arts, and then Lincoln University and Howard University, and then getting my doctorates from God U University, guys, and being in the arts and being in people. And I got my chaplaincy and stuff like that. I've done some things, and I know the differences between the different cultures. And my father said those things to me, and he went through a contentious divorce, and my mother was off the chart. Was off the chain, which is one of the reasons why I stood up to her. And I remember going to court multiple different times and them talking to me, my brother, and my sister. And my father lost custody when my mother was incarcerated. When it's for letting somebody grow weed on our property. God rest her soul. She passed away about a year or so ago. But she was incarcerated for that. And my father lost. Now, I was a child, but I was a pretty intuitive child. I paid attention. And a lot of it, I think, had to do with even talking to my father later about possibly the lawyer he had at first went for what's right. Hear me carefully. The lawyer went for what's right. His next lawyer went for statistical data and facts. Not facts being right facts, but how the system operates. And I saw that, and I learned that's not about the truth in our legal system. And that doesn't have to do with just fathers and mothers and custody and kids. It has to do with everything. Who has enough money? Who can create the narrative that they need the jury or the judge, who's only going to get a snippet of really what took place? And then snippet might not even be truthful. But they need to make a decision on your life and your family just from a snippet that might not even be the truth. It's not about the truth. It's about who can create that narrative that someone believes at the moment. And that's sad, because when the judge talked to me as a child, I told the truth. And thank God that judge listened, because then that judge went back and talked to my brother and sister who hadn't told the truth, because they were scared of their mother. They were scared of what was going on, whatever it was. They had not told the truth. And so when I told the truth, that forced the judge in our case to go back and talk to my brother and sister, who then told the truth and confirmed what I said. And that was the time, after about the third time, that my father won custody. And we had an incredible life because of it. If we had gone and went through the trials and tribulations and some of the things that my mother went through, we wouldn't have had the same life, even to the point of my sister had needing medicine and needing to be taken care of with medicine when she was young. And my father could bring that to the table, but my mother couldn't bring it to the table. But my mother still won the first couple times, right? And that was 40 plus years ago. And to find myself going through some similar type things 40 years later, and I'm African American, My ex-wife's African-American. My kids are African-American. That's not right. We haven't done enough. And it's time that we do more. And that's why hopefully next week, if I bring this up here, this will be not next week, on Valentine's Day. I thought it was appropriate on Valentine's Day. Hopefully we'll have my man Marcus from Fathers Fighting for Fathers to be a guest on next week. Not keep saying next week, this week on Valentine's Day at 6 p.m. hopefully. And we'll talk then about there's only one way to make change, guys. And first of all, we've got to speak out. Fathers, I never thought this would happen to me. Right? Just like we don't know when we're going to pass away. Some of us are alive today, might not be here tomorrow. God willing, I'll be, but some of us won't. I could be gone, right? We don't know that. And we don't know that what's going to happen. People change, people shift when you have separations and divorce, and some people aren't even married and they separate. And when kids are involved, kids should have both parents, period. That shouldn't even be a question. And the law doesn't state that it shouldn't be. I heard a judge one time say, they were going to give somebody the standard every other weekend. What? That's not the standard. That's not what the law says. But the judge had the guts to say that from a stand. That's not right. And see, somebody like that should be held accountable. They should. That's a judge that needs to be held accountable. Lawyers who don't fight because they don't think they can win, right? They take these oaths and they go through things. We're going to do the best we can. You don't do the best we could. If that was the case, then public defenders would do way better. They have way more resources sometimes than people who have to pay for it all. And we already know in our system, they're terrible, right? Now, there are a few that are good. I had a young lady in the beginning that was good, and the system tried to rip her from me. As you heard in the video, she went after the Supreme Court and she spoke in front of Congress, and they said they weren't ready for men to have the same rights when it came to children yet. Well, that was, 10 years ago. They still ain't ready, and some of y'all don't like Donald Trump, and some people, he does some crazy stuff and some stuff, whatever. I'm not here to endorse him, but I do know that, he goes after people. He had a book I read when I really became to know who he was. It said, don't get mad, get even. It's hard to get even with no money. And that's why it's hard for fathers to fight for the right, because it takes money. It takes money, guys. And most people don't have it. And so Dads Deserve Justice wants to make a change, which means we have to first start off, fathers. We have to start speaking. We have to make noise. When guys get together, when I went through a divorce, I felt like I entered a club. And maybe some of you can relate to this. I felt like I entered a club, because some of my best friends, some of my very, very closest confidants, people I've known for years since I was growing up, had gone before me through divorces, separations, children custody battles. And I didn't know half of what they went through until I went through it. And when I went through it, someone had even stayed with me and I didn't know what was going on. And when I went through it, it was like I entered a club. And now they could tell me and talk to me about the real stuff. And I said, this is horrifying. It's horrifying, right? And so we got to speak out. Lawyers work for you. That means you're going to have to put your foot down on their neck sometimes. I had an attorney who after working on the case for about a year, wanted to get out of the case 3 weeks before trial. And every lawyer said, the judge will never let that happen. You know what happened? The judge let it happen. And it put me in a bind to get another attorney. And then push out the case, right? Push out things being straight. Push out things being structured for my children, right? That's not right. That's a lawyer's problem. And lawyers need to be held accountable. That's a judge's issue. Judges need to be held accountable. And you know what people talk about all the time? Mothers. Now, it could be fathers. I'm not here talking about that all fathers are great and all mothers are bad and all mothers are great and all fathers are bad. And ladies, y'all might say I'm saying that, but that's not what I said. But the reality of it is the system is on the woman's side generally. It doesn't mean fathers don't win sometimes. A lot of times they like to win more, but they can't. They can't, right? Or they can't afford it. But the system is already biased, right? And so it's easy for someone who may not be a bad mother or a bad father to then go weaponize a system. Now, it's not as easy for a father to weaponize a system. It's easier for a female to weaponize a system because it's already structured that way. But often, that's not the best interest of the children. You were a fantastic father until you separated. Now you're the worst thing ever. But your kids still love you. You still would never harm them. You still raised them or disciplined them or dealt with them the same way you dealt with them all the years that you were together. So what changed? If you make sure you go to dadsdeservejustice.org, there's a clip on there. Actually, I should hopefully bring it up. Let me see if I can bring it up real quick, because that is an incredible clip. And I do want to try to show that real quick. I think I got it on here. I don't know if I can go to my website. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see this. Let me try to see if you can see my website real quick. I tried this earlier, and I tried to show something else. I want to share the screen from my, let's try this. Oh, maybe we'll get it. Let's try. Okay. See if we can do it.
We're supposed to, in this country, treat mothers and fathers the same with regard to custody. No one has a less equal position. However, when I practiced in the family court and then was later a judge in the family court, I found that law was honored in the breach. Most judges and most psychologists that served the court always thought that the mother was better. And I didn't always find that was true.
You have a child with him?
Yes.
That's not your child. That's both of your child. No, just a second. That child is both of yours. So either you take the child or he takes the child. He's the father no less than you're the mother. So
you take this up with the family court judge. Your case is dismissed. We understand each other? Take it up with the family court judge. When the family court judge issues an order of support, whoever the order of support is going to be entered against. But I'm going to suggest this to the two of you. You've wisely or unwisely made a child together. You don't have the right to take the child away from the other parent. He would not have that right to take the child away from you. That's what the court said. And whether you like him or not, whether you like her or not, whether he's a nice guy or not, whether he's a bum or not, he's a bum that you picked to make two children with. Mm-hmm. And if he shows up to see the children on a Wednesday and he's given you some indication that he wasn't going to be there on Wednesday, and for no other reason than he said he wasn't going to come, you don't let your children see him, that's wrong.
But
that's wrong. It's not between the two of you. He could be the biggest bum in the world. He lived with his children. His children know who he is. They have a right to see their father unless he is abusive to them, dangerous to them, which I assume that prior to 2007, you never made that allegation. Would that be a fair statement?
That would be fair.
Well, then unless he had some psychotic breakdown, which I doubt. Which I doubt. Nothing changed with regard to his love for his children from 2007 to 2009, except that you were PO'd with him. Now, that's unfair. Whether you like that or not, it's unfair. It's unfair for the children. Unfair to him, I don't care about. Unfair to you, I don't care about. But it's unfair for the children. And if you deny them the right to see their father, they will eventually hate you. I want you to understand that. I want you to be prepared for the fact that if you don't let your children visit meaningfully with their father, there will be a day down the road when they will hate you, justifiably so. Do you get it? Do you get it? Justifiably so, because you will have allowed your anger to get in the way of their relationship with their father. Good, bad, or middle of the road. That's who you picked to make them with. You don't visit your bad judgment onto your children. Do we understand each other?
I understand you. I don't agree with you at all.
I don't give a, listen, since I'm not adjudicating that or not, I have to tell you this. In 40 years, I've seen tens of thousands of women just like you who will invest all of their beautiful bloom time in hating the person that they made their children with. And I guarantee you this, you know what's going to happen? Eventually, you're going to drive him away. He's got a beautiful new fiance, and he and this beautiful new fiance will go on and make a beautiful new family. And one day he's going to say, I'm tired. I want to see my kids. I would love to see my kids, and I feel badly that I'm not seeing my kids, but she really is an SOB, and she created this problem, and when they get older, they'll see me, but I'm not going to waste my time anymore. Eventually, he's going to say that.
Mr. Baxter said that.
Just a second. If he said it, it's because you made it difficult. I've seen you for a very short period of time, and I know that if he said it up until now, he said it because you've made it difficult. It's not right that he's got a new girlfriend, that he's gone on to a new life, that you don't have a new life, that you don't have a new life. All of those things are very unfair, that you're living with your sister, that you no longer have a home for your children. I read your answer.
We have a beautiful home. We have a beautiful new home, and we are very happy.
Well,
and we have
you want me to read your answer? You want me to read your answer?
Yeah.
Fine. I'm going to read what you said. Then if what you said is a lie, you said, because of Chris, I don't have a place to raise my children. My sister has taken us in on a temporary basis. That's what you swore to in your answer.
Yeah, but it's a beautiful home.
Ms. Rizzo, I said all that's necessary to you. Put your hand down. You have to know that this has nothing to do with you. You're extra. You're fodder. This has nothing to do with you. You have nothing to do with his children. You have nothing to do with his former life. This has nothing to do with you. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Perfect. I wouldn't give up so easily on visiting with my children.
I have no plan on this.
I wouldn't give up so easily. But I'm telling you, I did my best. He should be seeing him regularly, because the nonsense that you give me is nonsense, because you left him alone with the baby from 4 to 10 at night and 4 to midnight when you weren't home. So you weren't concerned that he wasn't taking care of him, because if you were concerned that he wasn't taking care of him, you wouldn't have left him home.
Can I say something? I allowed him to watch Oliver while I
All right, guys. So, all right. So that was interesting, wasn't it? Now, that's Judge Judy, and she was a judge, but we need more judges like that, right? And most of the judges in Judge Judy is real, but then again, she's not real, and it's so much show and blah, 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 and different things. You have to agree to be on the show. That's a whole different ball game. But the bottom line is what she said is the truth. And judges don't do that in the world. You be far and in between before you ever got a judge like that. And you see how the mother, even though she was being told that, she couldn't grasp any of it. Like there was no accountability. There was no nothing. Right. And so, and I hear that all the time when people say, well, they're going to hate the mother. Well, often men don't want them to hate the mother. They just want equal rights, right? That's all, right? And what it costs their children to get to that point, right? Why you hate the mother, right? Because they're missing out on things. They're missing out on lots of different things they will never, ever get back. They'll have trauma. They'll have stuff their entire life. And so the judges and the lawyers and the women and in some men who try to weaponize and who weaponize the system, they are a part of the problem. And they should be held accountable as well. Maybe it's time to start suing some of them. Now, that's where it comes into one of the things we're trying to do. Not only do we have to talk out, we can't just speak about it. We have to do something about it. We have to change the laws. we have to do like big corporations do and have people down there fighting and lobbyists to change the laws. It costs money. It takes time. That's why lots of fathers can't fight for what's right, because it takes money. It takes time. They're being held accountable for things that they didn't even do, that they didn't create. Right? And so one of our goals with Dads Deserve Justice, one of our first goals, now we have lots of goals, but one of our first goals, we need your help. We need you to spread the word. We need you to share this. We need your help. Is 100,000 people, 100,000 people that are willing to donate. Now, before you say, oh my gosh, I don't have any money, times are rough, eggs are through the roof. I get it. But could you do $1 a month? Just $1 a week? Guys, if we could get 100,000 people to do $1 a week, if we could get 100,000 people to do $1 a week, just $1, $1, 2 quarters, 3 quarters, 4 quarters, $1, right? That would be right there. $1 a week would be about 100,000 people, about $400,000 a month. That would be about 5 million, give or take, a year. And if we had 5 million a year, then we could write a check to someone who's having this problem, having this issue, and get a good lawyer, not a bad one, a good one. We could get lawyers on retainer and lawyers on staff and lawyers who saw this passion, like the lawyer I had who went after Congress, right? Who are willing to fight. Not the weak ones, not the ones who are just going to take your money, not the ones who are going to do just the least they can do, but the ones that can make a difference, that would fight tooth and nail, the good lawyers. We could hold judges accountable. We could sue mothers or fathers, people who were wrong, people who did wrong. There needs to be some civil suits. You can't get anything a lot of times in criminal court, but you make a statement in civil court. But if they can't even afford to go to court for their children, how are they going to afford to sue the mother? There need to be some civil suits, right? And so if we had 5 million a year, and that's just $1 now, some people can give $10, $100, $1 million, $1,000 for the cause. That'd be fantastic. But everybody to just do $1 a week would be incredible. That's just with 100,000 people. I remember I had this idea, as you saw, years and years ago. I did a GoFund and I put up, I want to raise $100,000. And I was just testing it. I didn't know how GoFund worked. I didn't raise a penny. And I found myself fighting a battle as if I had an extra $100,000. Because haters hate, and people watch, and people twist the narratives. So be careful. But you know what? In order for things to change, there had to be a Martin Luther King. There had to be a Malcolm X. There had to be Abraham Lincoln. There had to be a, Bethune. There had to be a Frederick Douglass. Who was a woman on the bus? Oh my God, Alvin Rose. I can't remember that. It's terrible. So my accident. But guys, there had to be martyrs who had to take a stand. And fathers, we need you. And mothers, we need you. Because we plan to also help moms who don't weaponize the system. Because sometimes they need help too. But guys, it is called Dads Deserve Justice for a reason. It's not putting the women down. It's because men have they don't have the upper hand in this. They don't have any hand in this. It's just a battle from day one. And we want to make a change. And we want to make a difference. And so with this being said, guys, this is Dads Deserve Justice. We'll be doing podcasts, interviews with people. And we're going to do our part. And we want to fight for you and your children, all children, because it should be about the children. It shouldn't be about the dollar. It should be about who's angry. It shouldn't be about who can create the narrative, even if it's a lie. It should be about what's best interest of the children. And I have heard so many things that don't make any logical sense. When I jumped into this, when I studied this, when I look at this, it's heartening. It's disheartening that people can get away with what they get away with. It doesn't mean there's not other issues and other problems in the world. It just means that here's a problem that we need to address. And fathers don't step up, and they don't talk as much, and they don't let things out, and they keep their emotions held in and their feelings and stuff like that. And because of that, people don't hear the problems. They don't hear the noise. That's our theme later this week on Valentine's Day at 6 p.m. is fathers, it's time to make noise. It's time to make noise. And even if you haven't gone through this, you might wake up tomorrow and find yourself in it. Or your children may find themselves in it. Right? Then what? You thought it wasn't pertaining to you. But if you go through everybody's family, it's pertaining to all of us, which is why we all need to make a difference and do our part. Again, guys, please go to dadsdeservejustice.org. Check out the website. We've got a lot of revamps and things happening on there, but that's the basics there. You can, we took down the donation part, but you can money sign retire rich. You can donate there and make sure you make a note in the comments. So I have that proof. Like that's what this is for. And that money, a large portion of that, because we still need money to survive, but a large portion will go to helping parents, especially fathers, in those situations, and also to allow us to spread the word and put information out there, right? Because that's what has to happen. Everyone's on social media flooding and pushing a whole lot of things viral that aren't going to make a difference in their life or ours. And we need to start taking some responsibilities and holding ourselves accountable for some things, especially often when we think that it doesn't pertain to us until it does, right? Make sure you go to winnersallaround.com. That website is being revamped as well. Been working on it for a bunch of different months, but there's enough information up there for you to go through. If you're a hip hop artist, a singer, a rapper, join us live, and you'll see all the information on there. There's different things to help business owners get exposure and things of that nature. And please, please do me a favor. If you're watching this on social media, if you pick it up on YouTube, you can go to YouTube under Winners All Around, but please share and like and repost this, guys. We need to take accountability and do some things, take a little bit of time to push some things that are going to make a difference. And it's time, fathers, that we make a difference, whether you're a grandfather, whether you're uncle, whether you're transgender father, or it doesn't make a difference. This affects us all, guys, gals. And so again, my name is Dr. Malcolm D. Alexander. Don't forget to go to dadsdeservejustice.org. Take a look there, help us out. Also go to winnersallaround.com. For those of you who are in a situation, and whether because we can't help everybody financially, but if you're in a situation, you need to raise some money, you need to make some money to fight this fight, then let us know that as well. Maybe we can help in a lot of different ways. A lot of times we miss our blessings because we're so focused on what we think should happen and the way we see it that we don't pay attention to other people. We don't pay attention to other ways to make it happen. My billionaire mentor taught me that, guys. Most people are so busy focused on the way they think things should be, they miss their blessings to get them there in a lot of different vehicles a lot faster. And so with that being said, again, the websites are dadsdeservejustice.org. You can go to winnersallaround.com. Again, my name is Dr. Malcolm D. Alexander. You can check out more on me at ProMel, which is promoting money, entrepreneurship at the love life.com. ProMel Wealth, not ProMelWealth.com. Those are my boys. Love them to death. And I'm going to battle. I'm going to fight for you, for them, and for the world to be a better place and do my part. Thanks to, I was inspired by Malcolm II, Mason, and Miles Alexander, because they deserve the best, just like your children deserve the best. And the best is both parents. And fathers, don't give up the fight. Sometimes it might take you, as it took my father 3 times, and he was a Caucasian white man. And so you are going to have to go 100 times harder. I get it if you're a minority, but you can't give up the fight. But we got to do it together, because together each achieves more. And a lot of times we're out there all alone. If you're an attorney who loves what you're hearing and likes the cause and would like to help, whether it's volunteer, just consultation times or whatever, we'd love for you to help. If you're a judge or a retired judge that feels that it's time for you to make a difference, we'd love for you to contact us and help us. If you're somebody who can just donate that $1 a week, guys, and help us get 100,000 plus people to do that, we can make a massive difference in this fight. And this fight affects us all, because every one of you, whether you know it or not, some people don't even know it, you do have a dad. Hey guys, my name is Dr. Malcolm D. Alexander. Again, thank you so much. dadsdeservejustice.org. We will be back on 6 o'clock on Valentine's Day. So happy Valentine's Day coming up. Thanks to Promel Wealth for the sponsorship of the show for today. Thanks so much to Above and Beyond the Call Enterprises and some other sponsors we have coming on for the next show coming up February the 14th at 6 o'clock, where it talks about fathers. It's time to make noise. And hopefully we'll have Marcus on from Fathers Fighting for Fathers as a special guest on that show as well. Thanks to the platform. It was created, and my partner, Miss Rowe, with Winners All Around, for helping to put these things together and make things happen. Again, we need your help. At least like, at least share, and let's make something that's necessary and something that can make a difference and it's positive. Let's make this go viral. God bless. Dr. Malcolm D. Alexander. I will see you next time. Thanks for the pre-launch of Dads Deserve Justice. See you soon.